Early this month, Battlefront posted an early and late war Flames of War rules update which attempted to address a number of version 4 issues. These included points rebates for redundant units, changes to aircraft rules for cannons, machine guns, rockets and bombs, rocket launchers, the restriction of armour values for deployed tank units when using deep reserves, and issues around fielding large units. This last category proposed changing how hen and chicks worked for Soviet tank forces, as well as trying to fix morale issues with large Soviet infantry units. I won't go into a lot of detail here. If you want to look at the proposals, best to have a look at the Flames of War website. This announcement caused an outcry online, and this is possibly partly caused when some people missed that these were proposals for rule changes rather than the update in its final form. After the initial storm of protest, Battlefront issued a modified set of updates based on the feedback. This included offering players 3 options for changes to how large units are handled for morale and in good spirits, and dropped the changes to hen and chicks and the points adjustment for early war Soviet forces. These were not required under the new options being proposed. The final update was posted on September 21st and confirmed players had chosen option 2 for large units. The modified rule states, units that started the game with at least 16 units require at least 5 teams rather than 3 teams to be in good spirits. This is meant to modify the situation where these large units are too hard to wear down and break in a game. The updated post on the website now represents the proposed updates in their final form. Battlefront proposes to incorporate these rule changes in an upcoming Lessons from the Front. The company is also keen to get these rules changes finalised as they plan to release an updated late war rulebook. This will collate all the version 4 rules into a single book, and will include army lists and will be accompanied by nation-specific unit card packs to ensure existing players can upgrade to the latest edition of the game and keep using their existing armies. The Late War 4th edition rulebook will include 19 companies from 4 major nations. There are also plans for 4 new late war army deals to help the new players start a late war army. The German box will have Panthers, Panzer IVs, SDKFZ 234s, Tiger 1E, 8.8cm guns, and a version 4 late war rulebook. The British get Cromwell, Firefly, M10 17-pounders, 25-pounder guns, and an OP carrier and team along with a rulebook. Americans get M4A3 Shermans, M7 Priests, M26 Pershings and a rulebook, while the Russian box contains T-34-85s, IS-2s, ISU-122s, ZIS-3 guns and a new rulebook. These are all due in November, out in time for Christmas, and is one of the reasons Battlefront wanted to get the rules updates sorted out quickly so the new rulebook can go into print. I'm not going to venture an opinion about the updated rules. You need to have a look at them and decide for yourself. But Battlefront did acknowledge that there were some issues with 4th edition in early and late war. Despite some of the initial outcry about the proposed changes, they modified them based on user feedback, and even gave players a vote on options on how to handle the large unit morale issue. They need to get some credit for taking that approach. There are some other notes here about upcoming releases. The Italians are the next release announced for mid-war. No definite date was set, but it will be likely to be early 2018. New plastic kits for this release include an M1441 tank, Semivente self-propelled gun, as well as artillery and anti-tank guns. These are all in plastic, but there are also additional units that will be in resin and metal. Following this, later in 2018 will be the last desert book covering British 8th Army, with infantry and tank forces. These will include stats for the Sherman and Priest in British service. As well as the Lend-Lease gear, the announcement also mentions new plastic tank kits, so maybe there'll be a Valentine or A9, A10 in the works. This would fit in with infantry support options for North Africa, but I'm just guessing here. Longer range plans are for moving version 4 to the Eastern Front, with Soviet and German forces for Kursk and Stalingrad due to start releasing in the middle of next year. The announcement also includes some closer releases. November will also see an updated Team Yankee rulebook. This replaces the old US and Soviet list section with force diagrams from the Americans, British, West Germans, Soviets and East Germans. There aren't any rule changes, just the updated forces. As mentioned last month, there'll be a Team Yankee starter set released, Operation Hammerfall. This will include a mini rulebook, 2 M1 Abrams and 3 T-64 tanks. Like the El Alamein box set for Flames of War, this is meant to include everything needed to get a new player started. Later in November will be Stripes, the new US Forces book for Team Yankee. Rumours and Lies has spoken about this release previously. It will add more options for US Forces, including US Marines. New plastic kits include the M60 Patton tank building either an M60A1 or M60A3, Humvees and the LAV-25 wheeled APCs. There will likely be resin and metal kits of other vehicles and troops, but specific units haven't been announced yet. Battlefront also announced a partnership with Osprey Publishing to update some of the other periods like Fate of a Nation and NAM. The plan is to expand these to Team Yankee rules as well as expanding the scope of each theatre. For example, NAM will include the US Marines, while Fate of a Nation will expand to cover the 1973 Yom Kippur War as well as the Six-Day War. There will also be unit cards and additions to the miniatures ranges, including some new plastic kits. NAM is due out in early 2018, with Fate of a Nation due in the middle of the year. The announcement also hinted that Great War might get an update at some stage. Some other big Team Yankee news last month was the Firestorm Red Thunder campaign. This was an online campaign where opponents fought over key areas in a Soviet invasion of Western Europe. Players worldwide played games in the disputed map areas and submitted the results as well as battle reports of their matches. In overall points, the Soviets won with 1,522 points to the combined NATO total of 1,294. However, they didn't have it all their own way. NATO forces fell back but slowed the initial attack, then even started striking back and making some gains. In all, it was an interesting event. I'll look at participating in the next one. If you want to read the battle reports or see the maps, check out the Firestorm War Console. The URL is in the description below. The Plastic Soldier Company's website said the 15mm Leopard 1 plastic kit is tooling and is on track for release in early November. As reported previously, this kit will build the A1, A3 and C1 variants. It's available for pre-order on the Plastic Soldier Company website. Continuing their Cold War range, PSC announced 15mm Soviet Cold War infantry in plastic. This will be direct competition for the delayed Soviet infantry from Battlefront from Red Thunder, and should be very tempting for fans of hard plastic. The released pictures show these infantry armed with AK-74 assault rifles, as well as PKM light machine guns and RPG-7 anti-tank rocket launchers. However, there are also CAD drawings showing AGS-17 automatic grenade launchers and infantry AT-3 Saga missile crews. PSC has announced the kit will have 125 figures, enough for 3 platoons plus a company HQ. The support weapons will include AT-3 Saga and AT-4 Spigot anti-tank missiles, AGS-17 grenade launcher, as well as SA-7 Grail and SA-14 Gremlin surface-to-air missiles. These are up for the company's Will Starter program, with production due to start once there are 200 pre-orders. So if you want these, make sure to order them so they'll get into production. In late-breaking news, Battlefront have posted up an article by Flames of War player Daniel Linder about the mid-war M3 75mm GMC. Daniel has come up with some stats for the vehicle, which was missing from the Fighting First release. Battlefront have taken the stats and integrated them into the mid-war stat card format, and made them available for download. This means US Mid-War version 4 players can now field these in their forces along with the Stuart Tank Destroyer HQ. The URL to the article in the cards is in the description below. So this was an interesting month. Hopefully the rules updates for early and late war version 4 Flames of War will address some of the issues. There was always going to be some problems with a new rule set being applied to existing lists and forces, so hopefully these changes will work until these periods can get a full version 4 rework. The Red Thunder Firestorm campaign was interesting. It was a lot of fun seeing the battle reports come in and watching the campaign map update. I'll be keen to join in next time. Plastic Soldier Company are really cementing their Cold War range. I'm very keen to see the Leopard ones in plastic, and the Soviet hard plastic infantry will surely be a hit. If you want to see these, get your pre-order in to reach the production target.